Hey everyone, welcome to the Music Pro Services podcast. What makes a song emotionally connect? That's what I want to talk about on this episode, which is very important and right at the heart of music itself. Some people think that it's nostalgia. Some people think it's an amazing musicianship within the song. Perfect mixing, mastering, lyrics specifically for some people. But what is it that actually connects to the people? Is it certain parts of a song, or is it the whole song itself? I've found that when talking with people and myself as well, speaking from experience, the most popular thing is lyrics. That's what I've found with talking with people, and just people that aren't part of the music industry or not musicians or artists and just like to listen to music. Lyrics is one of the main ones that's up there, along with melody and what we call hooks and little bits and pieces in the song that trigger sort of memories and nostalgia. But the emotional connection that's within a song is often forgotten quite easily after a while. So what is it that makes a song special towards a certain person? Some people are very in tune to what they want to hear, and if that's the case, you'll find some people that really like the general production of the song, bits and pieces that are happening and the way it's surrounding their hearing perception, especially if they're listening to the song on headphones. And I think that's the case with instrumental music as well. So with instrumental music, it's a bit different. Whether you're into classical or electronic, other genres as well, I think it's more of the ambience and sound perception that they have and what connects them, I suppose, on a frequency level or on a higher frequency or a lower frequency. That's an interesting point as well. Me creating a lot of instrumental music, I find that people actually connect to certain things within a piece, whether it's a beat, whether it's a bass line or a riff or anything like that. I find that in an instrumental, they actually connect with certain parts of the instrumental song. Now, in regards to lyrics and the actual production of the piece, I think sometimes, well, the majority of people find lyrics are very important because they do engage and they do connect emotionally, especially if they were at a specific time and a specific place and it made them feel either happy or sad, and the lyrics can really connect and really be quite powerful. And this is for the majority of people who listen to music. And I think a song that is a song without any sort of meaningful things to a certain listener, I think it's just going to get skipped. So this is where, as songwriters and producers, we try and capture that engagement with the listener. So sometimes magic happens out of thin air, and you write the best lyrics, and sometimes we gotta work on it. But the honesty and the connection within a listener and a piece of musical work or a musical work can be very powerful and quite profound. That's sort of my segue into the next section is the people connect with honesty, right? What brings a person to that point of an adrenaline rush or jubilation or sadness or any sort of that emotional connection is quite important, because it's a response. It's a response to a feel, to a genuine feel. These emotions can be anything from excitement to nostalgia, anger, vulnerability, confidence as well, loneliness, and also some hope. There are a lot of songs out there that they also talk about hope, and this is something that connects with people as well. There's millions upon millions of songs about romance and about that fallen love and everything like that, but there are also other sort of songs out there that represent other sort of emotions as well. And what we hear as listeners is exactly that emotion that brings us to the song. Sometimes as producers or as artists, we get carried away with all the technical stuff. So we actually concentrate on whether the mix is perfect, whether the master is perfect, whether what is played here suits, or whether this lyric going there is going to suit with the music. And sometimes it becomes all too perfect. And this is sometimes a problem. And this is where the connection can actually be severed. When I'm producing, I actually make an effort to cause some imperfections in the music, just to let people know that it's actually human doing this piece of work with emotions themselves. So they want to connect with their emotions to whatever your connection is. So whether it's excitement, nostalgia, anger, what I mentioned before. So it becomes a real sometimes a bit of a challenge, because we want to get everything so polished and so perfect and with standards, with digital streaming and everything like that. Sometimes I think we need to let our souls into the music. Well, not sometimes, but all the time. But this is where the emotion should come before the technicalities. So where we all always think of how is this going to be produced, right? What's the outcome? What's the finished product? And sometimes we heavily rely on plugins, mixing, mastering, gear, that technical perfection and the perfectionism, and they matter. They absolutely matter, and that's what's going to bring it to the standard that's required to get it out to the platforms or to the universe, but however you want to call it or analyze it. But the actual emotion that you can capture within the musical pieces of work, they often get covered by the thought of us mixing it or putting more things in, putting this effect in, putting that effect in. Sometimes it's okay just to let it go a bit on its own, and well, people call them imperfections, but sometimes they're just perfections at the right time. So these are the things that you need to be aware of and have a look at and have a listen to at the musical piece of work holistically. What does it do to your emotions? What does it do to someone else's emotions? Like when you give someone the track to listen to for feedback, what does it do for them? What does it do for you? And these are the imperfections that can actually make you feel that you have this connection with the musical piece of work, and that can derive from anything that you're recording, from vocals to drums, even to the editing. Sometimes we over edit things, and sometimes it's good just to leave things in, just to give that human sort of touch and that connection. And it's quite challenging to do when you're on that journey of, I want to get something out really polished and really professional, and I want it to be the best thing that I could produce for that moment. But sometimes those little cracks in the vocals and those breaths that you take when you're playing, when you're singing, are a piece of musical work, or a passage, or a line, or a sentence. Even sometimes those things on the guitar where you hear the squeaks and everything on the fretboard of the guitar, sometimes the pedals of a piano, those things actually can bring out something that is really authentic and genuine, and you can hear the actual ambience, not only feel it, but you can actually hear the ambience of the actual track. The other thing is that dynamics also create that connection, because often dynamics are going to give you the loudness or the quietness, the tension, the release, some very sparse arrangements, against full arrangements. So giving space a little bit within the track can also do that, create that ambience. But sometimes you want to counteract that and play with the emotions of the person sometimes as well. So if that's the journey of your track, well, then that's probably a perfect way to look at it. But always there's a thing of, you need to always have in your mind, how is this going to connect with the listener? How is it going to connect with me? So again, and this is the next thing that I want to talk about, and it's a good segue. People remember feelings, right? So a lot of listeners remember, how they felt at that particular time and where they were. Sometimes I don't remember the exact lyrics. Sometimes I remember a tune, or they remember a little melody in there. But when they hear the song, they're going to remember, I was doing this at that time, at that place. Whether it's a good memory or a bad memory, it is triggering something. So something's working within the song. And we have to be really, really mindful of that, of how we want our music to be portrayed to the listener. And that's why there's a lot of things that matter to the artist, and that's one of the things. And that's one of the things that should matter to the artist. The other things that that are the core things, and obviously you're going to look at the production, sounding professional, sounding polished, and sounding to the standard of your liking, of how you are as an artist, and whether it's your sound or not. But we shouldn't be overseeing the fact that we need to connect with the people that are going to listen to it. If you're producing something, or if you're arranging or composing something that is for yourself, that might be a different journey. It might trigger things within your own life. That may connect with other people as well. But again, you need to bring it out there so people can actually listen and be connected with it. And that's that connection that, you'll have that connection. It's just like when you're having fans. Some fans will connect with you, some fans won't. And some people will like your music, some people won't. That's just a normal thing. But if you can connect with a song and with a particular sound or a melody or a lyric, and you can connect to someone, and that person comes to you and says, look, this reminds me of when I was in this state, or when I was in that state, or it really connected with me because. So, and that's a very good thing. Whether, what emotion it'll trigger, we don't know. Whether it's, jubilation or anger or, or melancholiness. That is also really important, because that means that you're connecting. The song is connecting with something or someone, and they're connecting with on a certain frequency. So I think to end off this podcast, I'm going to say that when you're really into it and you're really creating something, really look at it from a perspective of the listener, and how they're going to engage, how they're going to connect to this, whether it's the lyrics, whether it's the music, whether it's everything encompassing, and also let a bit of imperfections slide in. It doesn't hurt, not to the point where it's going to be a mistake or a big mistake, but within that polishness, you can have some surprises in there, and give that ambience of, you know what, we're all human, we're all doing this at this particular moment. So it's very important to also have that sort of, have those little imperfections, just to let people know that, you know, you're listening to me here. So so those things keep in mind. And yeah, it's a wonderful thing, right? It's a wonderful thing having that connection. And at the end of the day, we all want to be, for things to be polished and to be perfect, but sometimes that connection is also perfect. That connection that you're having with the listener can be also perfect. So have a think about all those things. And until the next episode, if you guys do want to ask you any questions or anything like that, pop a comment down below. Hit a like, subscribe, or if you want to get in contact, you can get me on the socials, Music Pro Services, or on my website, musicproservices.com. Until next time, ciao.